gonna try. I'm gonna try like heck. I'm gonna try like heck to do two things at once. One, I was gonna do something else. Alright, so I posted a video yesterday, a couple days ago, where I had this nail wrapped in a white wire. I didn't show you when I unwrapped it and wrapped it in the red wire. The white wire had either steel or aluminum in the middle, and when I tried to make an electromagnet out of it, it didn't work. So I thought, well, the copper wire would work better. So then I wrapped this. Turns out it didn't work. My assumption is, I don't know anything about electricity, but being a middle-aged man who don't know shit about shit, I'm trying to learn shit. So, a couple of things is, one, I might have wrapped it too far. I thought wrapping it further along here would be good. Also, I might not have wrapped it as much, but I watched a video, and I'm very interested in the lowest tech. People talk about high tech. I feel ashamed and embarrassed how un-high tech I am, but I feel even more embarrassed about how low tech I am. To a certain degree, like the survivalists and I mean, like, agriculture is huge, foraging is huger. Like, I watched this video this morning about it was like Grandfather Amu. I don't know where he's from. I think China. Forgive me if I'm wrong. Am I, say, oh, he's from this or that country, he's not from China. You're prejudiced. You're right. I am. I'm prejudged, and I prejudge. I'm programmed from a certain perspective, and I do my best. I wouldn't even say to step outside my perspective. I am who I am where I am, but I try to see correctly from where I am. Do I fail? Constantly. Almost always. But that 0.01% of the time, when I don't fail, when I glean something, I'm very happy. Anyway, I watched a relatively low-tech video, and it talked about 5 meters of 28 gauge wire on a 4-inch common nail. So, when I was first going to start making this video, because I have some content I want to go over, but I also wanted to do something, because I don't want to just, I want to do, and I want to do, and I want to do. So why am I making this video? I'm making this video for the doing that does in me. And when I go like this, I don't mean like, even though that's a part of me. What I mean is, or, I'm lifted and I lift. I'm lifted and I lift. Anyway, what I was going to do today is I thought, well, I couldn't find any 28 gauge wire down at the Aubuchon, and I'm a little tight on cash, and to call it a little, but I couldn't find any 28 gauge like enameled wire down at the Aubuchon down the road, and so I thought, well, I'll take this wire, which has the really thin wire, and like I can unwrap this nail, and like I can sand this nail because it's rusty. I thought that might help. I don't know if rust impedes electricity. I don't know. I know it does connection wise, but I don't know if it does if you wrap it with a coated wire. Anyway, I was going to sand this down, and then I was going to coat it with some glue, This is the one I've been using. I was going to coat it with some glue, and then I was going to coat it with this stuff. Wrap wire around it, one turn, keeping the wire separate from itself, unlike the way you'd normally do it with coated wire. Then I was going to coat it with more glue, more of this stuff. It's an acrylic wax. It's a thick acrylic coating, and I was going to do that till I had my 50 meters. The dictates, I wouldn't say the nows of today, because the nows of today have changed a little bit since I exposed it. There are other dictates of the nows of the day. So the dictates of the day, I'm not going to mention what they are. It's different for everybody. Why? Because that thing, and also the telepaths, create personalized dictates. Yet there are universal or common. There's common dictates, universal dictates, learned dictates, intrinsic dictates. Also, I want to apologize for being so a matter of fact about it. Yet, they dictate that I ought be less, I wouldn't say apologetic, because it's good to apologize. Even when you tell the truth, like, I'm sorry to tell you this. Like, I'm sorry to tell you this. Because the truth hurts. And especially if we're estranged, the truth really hurts. It hurts. I'm hurting as I'm exposed to more and more truth. Very badly. But there are those moments where I feel better, such as now. And I try to capitalize on it because I have the means, because I have this amazing piece of technology, this phone. And I'm able to bear witness. That's what I'm doing. If I fail, I fail. Many of us will fail. We'll fail. But we have to do it anyway for those who succeed. Not to mention, just the act of bearing witness informs all that other stuff. You know, and I've talked about it before, like, if quote-unquote scientific people who call themselves rational when they're empirical, even though there are rational empiricists, but it informs that nexus. You know, dark energy permeates most of the cosmos, right? Dark energy or dark matter, that's what they say. Does dark matter and dark energy permeate most of us? Which also forms in these mycelial webs. Not that I'm a mushroom dude. Not that I'm not, but not that I am. Because it's, you know, all that psilocybin shit. It's not a gate, it's a gateway into a revelation of the possibility. It's not a gateway to the revelation. That's a Castaneda view. Was Castaneda a hoax? Absolutely. You ever seen the movie The Great Escape? Was that a hoax? Conspiracies? Hoaxes? I was listening to an audiobook today at work. finish the audiobook. I think it was like A River in Darkness. I forget the author's name. I'll reference it later. But this dude who basically moved from Japan to Korea in the early 60s and escaped in the late 90s. And it tells his whole story or whatever. I mean, just totally desperate. But anyway, he escaped the country on his own and got to China, where he, through a series of events, got to the, I don't know what it, got to Japanese diplomats in China, and they conspired to get him to Japan. Not all conspiracies are bad. Not all hoaxes are bad. Some are good. Some are great. And some are the best. I can't say I'm part of the best conspiracy. I can't say that I will succeed. But that which now motivates me is that which that which has conspired and will conspire with spirals, with spires, succeed and win. Why? Switch gears. Trying to do two things at once. I'm failing so far. So I've been talking about tetrahedrons. It's the most basic three-dimensional object that can be conceived. It's a rational object. But see, we speak about ration very loosely, very comfortably. Scientists speak about ration very comfortably, right? Just like priests, I guess imams. I don't know anything about Islam, but they still have a priest class, right? The priest class, the Roman priest, this, that priest, whatever. Everybody speaks very comfortably about these terms, which, to me, that's why I'm saying I'm involved in low tech. So, in the sense of the world and the geometries and the 3D printers and the 8-dimension, 11-dimension, 28-dimension, blah, 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 or like the monster group. I remember hearing like John Conway talk about the monster group. I can't remember how many dimensions that is, but it's like, it's inconceivable in how something peculiar happens at this dimensional group. Then I'm reminded of N.J. Weilberger, who talks about how like group theory or set theories. I mean, groups are part of set theory, right? I mean, I don't know, right? They're related, groups and set theory. How that's really like a very, they're trying to build all of mathematics on like group theory, set theory, whatever. But like it's actually a really small part. And he's the only dude, I shouldn't say the only dude, he's the preeminent dude, the originator dude, of the only dude on the planet who's actually talking about the real shit, how math has to be built on fucking arithmetic. How'd I come to him? Because I knew that, like, all these ideas in my mind, like, when I wanted to get back into math was, like, years ago, 2012-ish, 2013-ish, was like, how am I doing on time? Ooh, pretty bad. Was like, I'm not going to be able to do two things at once. Fuck! Was like trigonometry, cosine, tangents, tables, entering shit in your calculator to get your sines and your cosines and your tangents and your cotangents and your arc sines and your var sines and your covar sines and all that. It was like, if I couldn't do it like this, I didn't want to do it. I don't understand it, And then the whole idea, because all the conspiracy shit, and I lump in like alternative histories and like sacred geometry. I call that conspiracy. The word conspiracy's got a bad rap. Con, with, spirals, con, against, con, beside, con, tide. You know, this is a conspiracy. This is a, what's this? A conspire. This is a conspire. This is a conspiral. This is a conspiral. Or wait, no. Wait, how would I hold it? You know? But like spire, spear, sphere, spiral. Like it's all related. So I'm not interested in conspiracy theory. I'm interested in the spiral. The spiral law. Anyway. NJ Wilder, Norm Wilder from Australia. I think he's from like the Bronx or Brooklyn, but like teaches in Australia. Biggest dude on the planet. 1,000 years from now, none of us will be remembered. They'll have statues of that fucking guy. And he'd probably lament it. He's so fucking like, well, I wouldn't even say he's humble. Because he's like so confident. But he's confident in a matter of a fact way. And he doesn't shit on people at all. He gives credit to everybody. But he gives like shit to ideas. And what led me to him in like the 2014-ish time frame was two things. And I mean, he's so far beyond like my arena of thinking, it's inconceivable. But there was a couple things. One is his math fundamentals playlist starts with like listing ones, not even like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It was just like lists of ones. You know, it's like you add 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And you add 3. 1, 2, 3. And you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And I was like, yes! That guy! Because he gets what my problem is. The other, I won't go into more than that. There's more of that, but I won't go into more of that. And the other thing was where he said, when he was talking about Route 2, because Route 2 kept coming up with Pythagoras and Pythagoreanism and blah, 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 and all that, and cutting the tongue out shit. Depends what that means symbolically, and what phoneticism, what Pythagoras has to do with the Phoenicians, and what Phoenicians have to do with phoneticism, which is the way shit sounds. Another thing. Way shit sounds. Symbol. Ting. Symbols. But, he said, Route 2 is not a number. It's an extension field. That was a horrible impersonation of the way he said it. But the way he said it, when I saw him say it about it was like he was condemning the devil. You know? It was like every heroic movie I've ever seen all at once, condensed into one moment. I was like, that's a motherfucking dude. And isn't it weird that a Route 2 would inspire that in me, especially considering I know so little. But it did. Why? Because as Dan Winter said, the truth has a certain ring to it. And as Will Rogers, Dr. Will Hawkins talked about also, people talk about the pineal gland, but there's a similar gland in the ear, I guess. So when you hear that ringing in the ear, it ain't just some, they call shit, when shit happens you can't explain, they call it some sort of neurological, like, oh, it's some sort of problem. Or they also say, some of the philosophers talk about how, like, light entering the eye, that light isn't in the mind, it's just a neurological thing or whatever, and it's like, light isn't, because the whole idea is like, well, light comes into your eyes and that stimulates the nerves and that stimulates the neurons and that electrifies the synapses, and you're not actually seeing light in your brain, you're transcribing it in a certain way so that you think you're seeing light. I hope this works. This isn't a very powerful light. This isn't a powerful light. Can you see the pink through my skin? You see the pink? See the pink through my fingernail? This is a little LED light. This is a little LED light. So, it's not even the hot light. It's not even the hot light, it's the cold light. Even the cold light with a little itty bitty battery penetrates. Goes right through you. And what do you see? That magenta blood. You see that magenta blood. And they say light don't go into your body. And they say light, and this is my finger, not even my eye. This mucosal little fucking bag in my fucking sack skull. And they say light doesn't enter your fucking mind. Take away the light, man. Not to say shit doesn't exist without light, not to mention when we say light, we're always talking about the visual spectrum, never mind the non-visual spectrum of light. X-rays from fucking space are going through us every fucking moment. The light's in there. The light's in there and we see it. So don't believe that shit when they say you don't. How am I doing on time? Pretty bad. It's funny when the nows of today collapse. Even though it wasn't the nows, it was the dictates of the day that collapsed. But I'm glad I said what I said so far, even though I haven't got to anything that I thought I'd say. And as I'm driving to work in the morning, and I'm looking at the sweet wind, the way it twirls the leaves, and I'm reading license plates, and I'm looking at the way people move, and trying to interpret that in Morse code and sign language. Not saying people are giving me codes, not saying that they're not. It happens sometimes. I'm not coding. There's only one video I've ever made where I coded with my hands. The rest of the time it's organic. Yet I'm coding. If you're watching my video, because this is, I'm telling you, this is what happens. If you're watching my video and you're getting something out of it, and if you're using there's shit I don't know. There's other languages I don't know. There's part of phonetic symbolism I don't know. There's sign language I don't know. Never mind sign language over the ages and the way people used to count with their fingers and all this shit. The telepaths, the clairvoyant telepaths, they know. They just think so much faster. They're thinking at such a higher resolution that they're walking by you like you're still. So when they respond to you, and they're out there, and they'll come into your life. Simple as that. Someone's got to say it, and I have to say it because I'm an idiot who has no ties, who can't suffer repercussions, except for getting fired from his job. Which I probably won't, because I'm a dumb house painter. And if any of my customers watched this shit, they'd be like, what a harmless, interesting fellow. So I'm in a unique position to say shit other people can't say. And despite the fact that I want to be healthy or I want to heal myself, this, that, or whatever, but I also know you heal yourself right? People talk about all doing this, and I want to do that. I do, and I do a bad job and all that, and it's true. I do. I do a really bad job, and I could do better. However, I also understand that getting to my ultimate physical peak negates what could happen tomorrow. You know, I've said it before, like the healthiest dinosaur when the comet came, or when the volcano erupted, or when the earthquake came, didn't matter. That little fucking shrew, overnight, became, and you know, whether you believe the evolution thing or not, whatever, but at least, you know, symbolically, or whatever, or if I have it, or if I have it wrong, you know what I'm talking about. That dude overnight went from the fucking least to the highest, right? And here we are. I hope it doesn't come to the point where fucking smokers and boozers become, though they do have that big cloud, I forget what it was. Yeah, there's some big like fucking, I don't know how big it is, as big as our galaxy. I don't know what it is. I can't remember. I can't even remember where I heard it, but there's some huge, oh yeah, it must have been Terrence McKenna. Well, maybe not, but, or no, it was the dude who wrote the book on ancient brews. What the hell is his name? I've talked about him before. I don't know, but he talks a lot about this dude named Michael Jackson, who's not the Michael Jackson of Michael Jacksons, but he's like some famous brewer. Anyway, there's some like huge, I know I'm using the wrong term, like nebulous cloud, I don't know what the fuck it is, but there's some huge thing in outer space that's just full of alcohol and like the, what are they called? Not flavonoids, esters that chemically correspond to the smell of raspberry. So who knows, if something like that ever washed over the earth, maybe all the alcoholics and smokers would be the only ones who survived. Of course, I'm saying that to defend myself, but I don't want that to happen. I don't want that to happen. Just saying. But also I know that if I become more healthy, I become more clairvoyant. I'm fucking clairvoyant enough. I mean, I'm crazy enough too. But like, 1% clairvoyant, if you're 1% clairvoyant, man, which we all are, depending on the deadening and so on, and fuck heredity, this, that, whatever, chosen, this, that, whatever. I mean, I don't know about all that shit. But I know if you're 1% clairvoyant, you're going to pick up on vertebrates, oxygen-breathing vertebrates, mammals, screaming for help. Oh, but that speaks in telepathy, this, that, whatever. I would refer you, first, if you're dismissive of that, to, what is it, Penrose? What's his first name? Penrose. Penrose, that big Penrose style guy? Penrose. Penrose and Stuart Hammeroff, the anesthesiologist, and the way they speak of microtubules. So if you're focused on synapses, you got a long motherfucking way to go. And that's based on those guys who know a lot more than me, but I know enough to know when I'm listening to them, they know a lot more than the other motherfuckers talking about. But they don't talk about this shit, but they touch it. They also are anti-emergent, and that's super important, that it's consciousness all the way down, though I prefer the word awareness. I got work to do on that, but that's what I prefer. Yeah, fuck it. So, I know, I'm propagandizing. I'm trying to make something interesting to me. I figure if it's interesting to me, I had a friend and a teacher one time say like, and I read in a book, paint for one person, right? When I used to paint more, it was like, paint for one person. Have one person be your audience. Increasingly, thank God, I am that audience. I figure if I'm interested, people like me who need what I need, anyway, what I was trying to get to that I wasn't getting to is this object. Once again, I mentioned it before. It's meant to represent, even though it's a triangle, though these lines toward the center are meant to be like reaching back toward the point of a tetrahedron, and how that circle which encompasses the the triangle is just that little itty bitty gap smaller than the radius of the sphere. So there's the radius of the circle that encompasses the tetrahedra, and there's the radius of the sphere. Spheres and tetrahedra, either one, can be considered the simplest object in 3 dimensions. That doesn't even take into account 4 dimensions, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, blah, 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 blah. Right? Well, all these people talking about ration, how many people know that? Why isn't this common knowledge? It's the simplest fucking object in 3 dimensions. We live in 3 dimensions plus, but you know, more or less we can agree, more or less. It's rational to say we live in 3 dimensions. Is it perfect ration? Is there such a thing as ration that isn't perfect, right? Once again, I ask the question, how fine a line does perfect reason cut? How fine a line? And if we can't even cut this line, which I have, right, well, here it's square root of 9 over 8, and 1 versus 1 and square root of 8 over 9. But you're dealing with essentially 9/8, 8/9, 1. 2 root 2 over 3, 3 over 2 root 2 versus 1. If tetrahedrons even exist, though they could exist as, if you created the, I wouldn't even say great circles, but the spherical circles, then you might start getting back into other pi continuum numbers. Really bad way of saying it, but I don't know shit. I'm trying to figure it out. But anyway, I'd had in another video previously a 3-dimensional object, and this is because I think there's probably a perfect geometry that describes this better. I use this. I use essentially what we would call a rational process, though I'm not convinced it actually is a rational process, because I think ration is, it's so fine a line, never mind the width of a line, that relates back to, I think, Cavalieri, which no one reads. So they relied upon some other mathematician who like synopsized Cavalieri, and I think that happened back with like a lot of the shit in the early 1900s with like quantum physics and so on, like, or the Copenhagen interpretation that takes a lot of heat from the alternate physicists, and how can you call anyone alternate who can fucking crunch some numbers and come up with some shit? Especially theoretical physicists. Never mind, like, even just like the regular shit that's the whole double slit experiment. What I can't wrap my mind around about the whole double slit experiment is that if you're firing electrons, never mind, like, if you don't understand the apparatus that is firing electrons, like, if you don't understand that entire process, how do you even know, oh, okay, it's firing an electron? How? What's actually happening that informs the process of that firing? But let's just say, who says that they're not firing a wave sequence, an interference pattern wave sequence? Who says they aren't firing an interference pattern wave sequence that simulates an electron? And I don't even mean that like accusatorily, but also you're firing it through some film. There's some slit in something. And even if, like, I watched this, it wasn't Weihart, it wasn't Vsauce, I think it was Veritasium. I think it was the Veritasium channel. And since I mentioned Weihart, I remember that, yeah, Weihart and the boy with the band, they sang Boy in a Band, the Boy in the Band channel, which I used to watch a lot, like, I don't know, 5, 6, 9, 10 years ago. Oh, that guy's so fucking smart, man. So fucking smart. I remember they sang this song at CERN. It's awesome. But anyway, yeah, Veritasium. I think it was Veritasium. And he made this, like, it was like a slide with a scratch in it, and he put it in this big cardboard box, and he made this, like, hard copy. You know, when he took it out, I don't know if it was like Boston Common or where. I think he's out of that area. I think he's like Harvard or MIT or something like that. But like, and he made this double split experiment that people could look at and the whole thing. And like, I don't understand it. And they say anybody who does don't know shit because it's the whole quantum thing, right? But like, the whole thing is like that film has a thickness. That film has a thickness. Thus, the light isn't just passing through. Or the electrons aren't just passing through, because there's a thickness, there's a membrane. You have a slit, right? It doesn't matter how thin that membrane is, there's an edge. And whenever you pass something through, especially something that comes at a perspective, some of that shit is gonna bounce off that edge. No matter how thin that edge is, it's not as thin as a fucking photon. Or a chronon, or whatever. Never mind neutrinos and tachyons. Something's going to bounce off that edge. I'm not saying that's an answer to anything, but no one ever talks about it. So to my mind, even though I'm a layperson, that's a rational, empirical concern that has not been spoken to by my betters. So I'm curious. One of the problems is when my betters speak, I'm so stupid I don't know what they're talking about. But thank God I know enough to know that I don't know. And thank God I'm arrogant enough to keep pursuing these topics despite the fact that I'm mostly wrong. That little piece of right, man. Simplest object in the world. Simplest object in the world. Simplest object in the world. The two simplest objects in the world in that little gap. 2 or 2 over 3. God, I hope I got that math right. Until that's common knowledge, So, talked a little bit about the science. Now I just got to say the one thing about religion, which actually I was going to talk about more today because I was fucking fired, man. I was fired up about it. Jesus, 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 Jesus. Now I ain't shitting on Jesus. I ain't shitting on avatars. Was it symbolic? Fucking A right, it was symbolic. Was he real? A bigger question was, who were the three wise men? Where did they come from? Why did they come? And who went back to them when it was all said and done? And what came before the three wise men? And what came after the one who returned to them? It was a node. Jesus died for my sins. Preach Jesus, right? I was just watching that AD movie. Or show, episode 1, whatever. I don't know how many episodes there were. I just bought down the Rite Aid for $1.99. I wasn't going to buy it, and then I was looking at the thing, and then I walked back up to the counter with my Tom's deodorant. And the lady at the counter was like, all those movies are $1.99. And it was a 4 DVD set, so I wasn't really sure. And she said, all those movies are $1.99, and I was like, $2. Okay. But Jesus died for my sins. Jesus died for my sins. Jesus died preaching Jesus, preaching Jesus, preaching Jesus, right? What was the whole point? Why did Jesus die for sins, man? Mythologically or for real? Why? I mean, it's a story that's taken over the world, so it's real in that sense, right? It's real. It has consequences. Why? To stop sacrificing animals. Those days, or at least in the context of the mythology of the story of those days, every time you killed an animal, it was a sacrifice, a ritual sacrifice. Just like the ritualized butchering still goes on today. I mean, like, guess what? Is this going to be controversial? Yes. But I'm going to say it anyway. And that's why it is the good spell. Like it or lump it, man. If you're a vegan Jew, you're a Christian. You don't have to be a Christian. You don't have to believe in Christ. You could be like, fuck Christ. I'm a vegan Christian. Fuck Christ. And old Jesus would be like, I don't give a fuck what you think about me. You win. Because that was the whole fucking message. All that torture, all that blood, all those pegs, all that fucking cross, all those 3 days, all this, that, whatever. The whole fucking point was stop eating meat of animals. Stop killing the lamb. Stop killing the goat. Stop killing the bull. Stop killing the cow. Stop drinking the milk. Stop eating the fucking chickens. Stop. That was the whole point. Bye.